Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to have a bit of a chat about this trusty companion right here, the Sony FX6. It's been about 4 years since this camera hit the market, and with all the new shiny toys coming from Red and Blackmagic, and Blackmagic bringing out the new Pixus, I thought it might be a good time to ask, is this camera, this bad boy, still worth it in 2024? So without further ado, get a cuppa, get comfy, let's get into it. We've got some serious contenders out there now, the Canon C70, the Red Komodo, and the latest from Blackmagic with the Pixus. Each of these different cameras, they bring something unique to the table. The Canon's got that lovely Canon color science, it's just robust and rugged. The Red Komodo, it's got that red cinematic raw in there, and it means people can get at the Red camera system because it's way more accessible because it's cheaper. And Blackmagic with the Pixus, that's turning heads because the image quality, so I'm hearing, is to rival Alexa's, and it's pretty friendly on the wallet too. But here's the thing, despite all the new tech, the FX6 still holds its own, and here's why I think it's still a solid choice, even though this bad boy is 4 years old. First up, let's talk a little bit about the low light performance. The FX6 has got the dual base ISO, that 812,800, which means it basically sees pretty damn well when the lights go down and you're in the dark. I've been in some really challenging lighting situations, and this camera just seems to nail it every single time. And as for the Blackmagic Pixus, it's got some impressive dynamic range stats, but it doesn't quite match up when the lights go down to the Sony FX6 when comparing and bringing in the factor of those two dual base ISOs. Now let's talk about the full frame sensor on the Sony FX6. It's a big win for me. That creamy bokeh, that depth that you just can't beat, just the data volume that you get from a full frame and the look. And let's not forget about lens options as well. The Sony E-mount gives you a plethora of different lens options, and there's loads of adapters as well. I've been pairing mine with some vintage lenses lately, like the Helios 442 and the Canon FD50, and the results have just been magical. There's just something about that full frame sensor aesthetic that adds an extra layer of polish to the shots, gives you that extra bit of something, that creative control over your image. Now this is more for the run and gun filmmakers, and let's hit the autofocus. The autofocus is snappy, it's reliable, and it's a lifesaver when you're just juggling everything on your own. The Canon C70 also has fantastic autofocus too, but if you're looking at the Red Komodo or the Blackmagic Pixus, not so much. I know the Red has some auto system on there and they're trying to get better at it, but it just feels like it's miles away from where Canon and Sony are at the moment. But maybe that's okay, because when you're going to use these cameras, it's most likely going to be on set for things that are short films or that kind of commercial work where you maybe have a first AC there. But if you're in the world of not having that luxury of having somebody there to pull focus, that autofocus really comes in clutch. Ergonomics and usability, they're another big deal for me. And the FX6 is lightweight, modular, and it just feels right in the hand. It's easy to rig up or strip down depending on what the shoot calls for. I've used it on commercial work and run and gun work where we've had big crews or just solo operating. Canon is also pretty compact, but the Red Komodo and the Pixus, whilst they are compact, when you add a lot of the necessary rigging, they can become a little bit cumbersome. And here's one more feature that I absolutely love about the Sony FX6, the built-in electronic variable ND filter. It's a game changer, man. You're able to smoothly change adjustment and find exposure without fiddling with all the external filters. It just saves on so much time and hassle. And also if you're doing something live, you just need to push the dials up ever so slightly, pull them down ever so slightly. It can save you, man. When you're in the middle of a sticky situation, the sun comes beaming through a window, it's an interview or something, you can just dial that thing up and it'll be completely fine. Switch to another camera, you're good to go. You don't get any of the NDs flickering over the screen of the camera. The Canon E has built-in NDs too, which is great, but the Red Komodo, the Blackmagic, they don't. So your only option is to stack a load of filters on front of the camera, making for a bigger, more cumbersome, clunky rig. Now let's talk about the image quality on these cameras. They all deliver stunning results, no question. The Red Komodo offers that lovely red raw, The Blackmagic Pixis records with Blackmagic RAW, and both of those are fantastic for grading. They give you loads of flexibility. The FX6 doesn't record in RAW. It has an XAVC output, which means it doesn't give you that flexibility when you hit post. It means when you're trying to get something out of the camera, it can look brilliant straight away, or you can shoot with S-Log3 and it gives you quite a bit of flexibility there. But that pure RAW where you can literally shoot anything and you've got the complete dynamic range and flexibility to change when you hit the editor, you can't have that, and it is a drawback. But I have heard on the grapevine in the news that Blackmagic are releasing a monitor which can bring that functionality to the Sony FX6 and the Sony FX3, which is pretty exciting. And it will help people that are wanting to use the Sony FX6 in more of a commercial, professional setting, because it gives you that extra flexibility. The XAVC though, in my honest opinion, is more than sufficient for most projects. Plus, in comparison to RAW, it doesn't chew through mountains of storage, which, discovering with my business at the moment, can be a problem when you've got to pay for NASAs and hard drives and things can get a bit messy. So, is the FX6 still worth it 4 years later? I reckon it absolutely is. It might not have all the bells and whistles of some of the latest cameras, but it's a solid, dependable workhorse. It delivers time and time again, and if you're considering an upgrade or still considering buying one of these, I don't think it's worth sleeping on, especially considering the landscape of cameras at the moment. Because these camera companies have been releasing new models of their cameras, it stands to reason that Sony's probably going to come out with a Mark II pretty soon. They had the Burano, but they haven't done anything in the FX6 or the FX9 world for a little while. So they may release a version 2. And for me, I think in the modern filmmaking world, this is still going to be a camera that has relevancy for another 4 years from today. Unless there's some sort of quantum leap that happens to the technology, I think this is really going to stand the test of time for many years to come, similar to how the Sony FX9 did. Anyway, that is just my 2 cents. I'd love to hear what you think, so leave a comment in the comment section below. Have you used the FX6 or any of these newer cameras? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I'll only ask you to do one thing, as I always ask you to do, is just drop that head button on the subscribe button, and I'll see you later.